I was married for exactly 15 days when I found out my wife had betrayed me with someone I had trusted almost as much as her. My name is Daniel Carter. I'm 31, a senior architect, and until 2 weeks ago, I thought I had everything figured out: a dream career, a beautiful wife named Chloe, and a shared project that was supposed to launch both our futures. We just gotten back from our honeymoon in Santorini. The wedding gifts were still unopened. Chloe was still signing her name as Mrs. Carter on everything, and yet, behind my back, she had already started drafting a new life with Ethan, her ex, and mine too, in a way. What I didn't know then was that she wasn't just leaving me. She was planning to steal something far bigger than my heart. And when I found out, I didn't beg. I didn't cry. I made her regret everything. People say hindsight is 20/20. Looking back, the signs were all there. I just didn't want to see them. Chloe and I met 4 years ago at a design expo in Chicago. She was giving a talk on sustainable interiors, and I was presenting a structural design model for vertical cities. I was immediately drawn to her. She was sharp, passionate, and had this energy that made everyone around her feel like they mattered. We ended up on the same panel, then at the same dinner, then walking the Riverwalk at midnight talking about architecture like two nerds at prom. From the beginning, it felt like partnership on every level. Creatively, emotionally, professionally. Chloe had been working freelance at the time, while I was climbing the ranks at one of the biggest architecture firms on the East Coast. I vouched for her when we took on a high-profile eco-housing project together, and she nailed it. It was the start of something big for her and us. We moved in together a year later, into my loft overlooking the city. Chloe added her touch to every corner: soft lighting, reclaimed wood shelves, and plants everywhere. It didn't feel like she moved in. It felt like we became a home. Things weren't perfect, but they were close enough. We argued about late nights, forgotten dinner plans, and design clashes over too much glass or not enough flow. But I thought that was normal. We built dreams in blueprints and coffee-fueled sketches. We talked about someday starting our own firm. We even named it Carter and Sanders Studio, just as a joke, I thought. Then, last fall, I proposed. Chloe cried, said yes before I could finish my sentence, and hugged me so hard I dropped the ring. Her parents were thrilled. My family flew in from Colorado, and for a while, I believed in the picture we were painting. We had a vineyard wedding in upstate New York. Elegant, soft, intimate, exactly how Chloe wanted it. I spent a year juggling brutal hours and side consultations just to pay for everything she dreamed of: antique lace, custom invitations, even a six-piece live quartet that flew in from Montreal. The night before the wedding, I remember standing on the balcony with my best friend, Marcus, sipping whiskey. He looked at me and said, "Are you sure she's all in?" I laughed. "We've been through too much for her not to be." He didn't laugh back, but I ignored it because Chloe looked beautiful that next day. Because she whispered, "You're my forever," right before walking down the aisle. Because I believed her. We spent 10 days in Santorini for the honeymoon, and honestly, they were perfect. We drank too much wine, got lost in alleyways, made love under moonlight, and made plans for our future. We came home sun-kissed, smiling, and still signing thank you cards. Chloe even joked about looking at houses. She'd bookmarked a few listings, said she wanted something with light and space, and a second bedroom for the future. But then something shifted. Barely a week after we got back, she started sleeping in later than usual. She didn't want to come to my office like she used to. She was always on her laptop, but would close it the second I walked in. When I kissed her goodnight, her lips felt rehearsed. Her eyes darted like she was somewhere else. I chalked it up to post-wedding blues. Or maybe fatigue. The truth was, Chloe wasn't tired. She was already working on a new partnership. One that didn't include me. The first real crack didn't come in some dramatic way. It came quietly, like a hairline fracture in a concrete beam. Nothing visible at first, but slowly, pressure builds. It started with missed dinners. Chloe would text me at 60:30, running late, client consult. Don't wait up. I believed her. She was taking on more interior contracts independently, and I respected that. In fact, I encouraged it. I wanted her to thrive, but the texts became routine. Then they stopped altogether. I'd come home to an empty loft. No candles lit. No jazz playing from her Bluetooth speaker. Just silence and the soft hum of her laptop left on the kitchen island. When I asked her how her day went, she'd offer vague responses. Just exhausting. Or, same stuff. Once, I made a light joke. "You talk to your tile supplier more than you talk to me lately." She didn't laugh. She just nodded. Maybe I do. I remember thinking, that's not like her. But I didn't push. I told myself, she's tired, overwhelmed, settling into this new phase of life. I didn't want to be the controlling husband. I trusted her. Then came Maya. Maya had been working at my firm for 3 years. She was sharp, witty, the kind of person who remembered everyone's birthday and made killer spreadsheets. We'd always gotten along, and she'd been there through most of my relationship with Chloe. Office parties, design reviews, and even helped Chloe pick a custom light fixture for our kitchen. She and Chloe weren't particularly close, but they were cordial. Friendly enough to exchange playlists and book recs. So I didn't think twice when Maya started asking more questions about Chloe. How's she doing? Still swamped with clients? Does she ever think about hiring someone to help? Has she mentioned that Ethan's back in town? That last question caught me off guard. Ethan, Chloe's ex. She'd told me about him once, briefly. They said they dated in design school, stayed together after graduation, but things fizzled when he moved to London for a job. That was it. I didn't ask for more. We all have pasts. Wait, how do you know Ethan? I asked Maya. She shrugged. He's consulting on that new eco-hub project, the one your firm turned down. Apparently he's freelancing now. Small world, right? It was a small world. And suddenly, it felt like it was closing in. A week later, Chloe mentioned she had a collaboration opportunity she was considering. Said it was with old classmate who just moved back. I asked who. She hesitated, just for a beat, then said, Ethan. I didn't react, didn't flinch, just said, cool. You think it'll be a good fit? She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. We'll see. It's just brainstorming for now. Brainstorming turned into lunches. Lunches turned into full-day work sessions at some studio across town. Chloe stopped telling me when she'd be gone. Sometimes she'd leave after I left for work and wouldn't come home until well after dark. And Maya got weirdly quiet about it. She stopped mentioning Chloe altogether. But one evening, while we were both stuck late at the office doing revisions, she casually said, just so you know, I wouldn't let my wife spend that much time with her ex, especially not one that still calls her Chloe. I stared at her. What are you trying to say? She shrugged. Nothing. Just, maybe check your foundation, Daniel, before it collapses. She went back to typing, like she hadn't just lit a match and walked away. That night, Chloe came home and didn't kiss me. She said she was tired, but I looked in her eyes and I saw it. Distance, detachment, guilt. I didn't want to believe it yet, but I knew something was broken. And this time, I couldn't draw a clean line to fix it. I always imagined betrayal would feel like a slap. Sudden, loud, overwhelming. But when it finally came, it was quiet. A whisper, not a scream. It was a Thursday. Rainy. Gray. One of those days where the whole city feels like it's holding its breath. I'd stayed home to work remotely, buried in plans for a municipal renovation project, eyes bloodshot from CAD blueprints and back-to-back Zoom meetings. Chloe didn't know I was home. I heard the door open around noon. Her voice, soft and low, drifted in from the hallway. Too warm, too intimate for a work call. I don't know what possessed me, but I stood up and walked silently down the hall, barefoot. I stopped just outside the bedroom, where she always took private calls. She didn't hear me. I know, she said. No, he has no idea. Ethan, relax. I'm not stupid, yes. I deleted everything. We just have to wait until after the expo. Then I'll talk to him. Talk to me about what? There was a pause. Then, I still care about him. But this, you and me, it just feels right again. I don't know, maybe it never stopped feeling right. I stepped into the doorway. Her face went pale the moment our eyes met. She dropped the phone like it burned her. Daniel. I didn't speak. I couldn't. I felt like the walls around me had just caved in. She scrambled to explain, words crashing into each other like a pileup. It's not what it sounds like. I was gonna tell you. I didn't want to hurt you. I let out a short, bitter laugh, so you decided to lie instead. It started out innocent, I swear. We were just talking about that joint project. Ethan has contacts in Milan, and I thought. No. I interrupted. My voice was low, flat. You thought he could help you launch your firm. And if you had to trade your vows to do it, so be it. She flinched. You've been planning this, haven't you? I continued. All those late nights. The lunches. The fake collaborations. You were building something, just not with me. Tears filled her eyes. I didn't mean for it to happen. Didn't mean for what, Chloe? My voice finally cracked. To cheat, to lie, or to fall back into bed with someone you swore was in your past. She broke. Ugly crying. Collapsing onto the bed like she couldn't hold herself up. I was confused. Ethan said all the things I used to wish he would say. That I was brilliant. That he never stopped loving me. I felt seen again. That word. Seen. It hit me harder than anything else. I had spent the last year building our future. Saving for her dream wedding. Cutting back hours, and turning down high-paying contracts so we could finally settle down. And she felt unseen. I clenched my fists, trying to keep control. You were seen, Chloe. You just stopped looking. She shook her head. I didn't plan to fall for him again, but he believes in my vision. He said we could build something amazing together. You've always had your career, your firm, and your name on buildings. I just wanted something of my own. You had me. That came out too soft. Too broken. She reached for my hand. Maybe we can fix this. I stepped back like she was fire. You're sleeping with the man you called a mistake, and now you want to build a business with him. I don't know what I want, she whispered. I need time. No, I said. You need to pack. She blinked. Daniel, I want you out by tonight. You don't get to stand in our home, my home, and ask for time after months of deception. She sobbed again. Where am I supposed to go? To the man you chose. There was a long silence. Then she stood, slowly, walked to the closet. I left her there. I walked to my office and closed the door behind me. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I opened my laptop, searched, divorce attorney, confidential consultation, and booked 3 back-to-back calls. Then I texted Marcus. You were right. She was never all in. Can you come over? That night, as the rain turned into thunder, Chloe left, suitcase in hand, eyes red, lips trembling. She didn't say goodbye. She just stood at the door and stared at me, like she was expecting something. I gave her nothing. And when the door clicked shut behind her, I finally allowed myself to exhale, not because I was free, but because the lies had finally stopped. The next morning, I thought I'd get some peace. But betrayal never leaves quietly. At 8:13 a.m., my phone buzzed. Caller ID Maya. I debated letting it ring, but curiosity won. Hey, I said, my voice like gravel. There was a pause. Then, I told her it would blow up. I sat down. So you knew? I didn't know everything, she replied. But I knew enough. Maya sounded tired. Not apologetic, not guilty. Just tired. She used me, Daniel, to keep tabs on you. To soften the ground. You were her friend. I wasn't. Not really. I was convenient. I didn't respond. I was too busy replaying all the office nights, the hallway chats, and the way Maya asked if I trusted Chloe just a few weeks ago. Then she said something I didn't expect. Ethan reached out to me last fall. He said he wanted to reconnect with both of us. He was fishing Daniel, seeing who'd bite first. I clenched my jaw. And you didn't tell me. I didn't think you'd believe me. You were glowing every time Chloe walked into a room. She wasn't wrong. That afternoon, I got another visitor, Mike Sanders, Chloe's dad. 6'2", retired Air Force, handshake like steel. He stood at my door in civilian clothes, arms crossed. I'm not here to defend her, he said before I could speak. I'm here to apologize. He stepped inside without asking and placed a coffee cup on my counter. I raised her better than this. I stared at him. You knew. Her mom knew. He admitted. Helped her draft that stupid business proposal behind your back. Said it was empowering. I scoffed. Empowering? She thought Chloe deserved her own brand, her own spotlight. Didn't care who got burned along the way. And you? I told her she was playing with fire. She didn't listen. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a USB drive. This was sent to our shared cloud. Chloe didn't know I still had access. I plugged it in. Blueprints, proposals, branding mock-ups, Wallace and Sanders design. My jaw locked. Not even subtle. She filed this 4 days after your honeymoon, Mike said quietly. She was planning this for a while. I couldn't breathe. She's staying at her mother's now, he added. But for what it's worth, I'm ashamed of her. And I'm proud of you for not crawling back. Before he left, he turned back. You built a future with her. She built an exit strategy. He paused. Don't just rebuild, Daniel. Reinvent. Later that night, Marcus and I went through the entire proposal. He looked at me, eyes narrowed. She copied half your signature design elements. I nodded and handed them to the guy I once mentored. Because yes, Ethan had been a junior designer under me at my first firm. He left when he couldn't rise fast enough. Now he was back, piggybacking off my wife's and my work. I should have been furious. Instead, I felt focused, clear. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was theft, and I had no intention of letting them walk away with it. The old me might have curled up and waited for the storm to pass. The new me. I picked up a pen. If Chloe and Ethan thought they could steal my work, rebrand it, and pass it off as their own, they clearly forgot who built the foundation in the first place. I spent that weekend going through everything. Project folders, concept drafts, and time-stamped emails. Chloe had used fragments of designs we'd collaborated on, but the core of it was mine. I had the CAD files, the original iterations, and even sketches dating back over a year. Legally, ethically, it was a clear-cut case of intellectual property theft. I scheduled a meeting with my firm's legal counsel for Monday morning. Angela, our lead attorney, looked through the files and whistled. Wow, they really thought a rebrand would hide this. Amateurs, I muttered. She nodded. You want to press charges? Not yet, I said. Let them show their hand first. Angela leaned back impressed. Revenge with restraint. I like it. But I didn't want revenge. I wanted them exposed. So I waited. And just as I predicted, Chloe and Ethan launched their studio 3 weeks later with a smug Instagram announcement. Introducing Wallace and Sanders, sustainable design for the future. Their launch party was an invite-only networking event for young architects and developers. And guess who got an invite through a mutual contact? Maya. She called me the night before, smirking through the phone. Want me to go? Take notes. No, I said. I'll go myself. I walked into that party wearing a charcoal suit and a smile they didn't expect. Chloe's face paled the second she saw me. Ethan just smirked. Bold of you to show up. I extended my hand. Congratulations on your launch. Shame about the plagiarism, though. He blinked. Excuse me. I leaned in. I own the licensing rights to 3 of the structural features in your core concept model. I registered them last year. You might want to have your legal team review your mock-ups before you go to market. He didn't speak. I turned to Chloe. You built your brand on someone else's blueprint. Again. Then I left. No shouting, no scene. Just a quiet, clean warning. The fallout was almost instant. Angela sent a formal cease and desist the next day with attached evidence packets. Chloe's face was dropped from the studio's website by the end of the week. Investors pulled out. Ethan tried to pivot the brand solo, but without Chloe's aesthetic and without stolen structure, the launch crumbled. And me? I got an email from Tokyo Design Group. They'd seen the mock-ups Ethan posted online and traced them back to my original award-winning concept submission from 2 years prior. We're impressed. The email read, would like to fly you out to consult. I said yes before I even finished reading. The night before I left, I stood alone in my empty loft. The place felt bigger than I remembered. Maybe because it no longer echoed with lies. Marcus came by with drinks. We toasted on the balcony. To starting over, he said. I raised my glass. No, to start smarter. It started with a voicemail, a long one. 4 minutes. Her voice cracked halfway through. Hey Daniel. I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from. But I didn't realize how much I lost until it was gone. I deleted it before she could finish. Then came the email. Subject line. Closure. She talked about missing the way I made her coffee in the mornings, about our plans to build something real, about how Ethan turned out to be. Brilliant mind with zero integrity. Her words, not mine. Apparently, he'd already started seeing someone else at another firm. And Maya. She forwarded me a screenshot a day later. Chloe had tried to apply for a junior designer role at my firm. The audacity. The whole thing would have been laughable if it hadn't been so sad. Because that's what Chloe had become now. Not dangerous, not threatening, just sad. I left her message unread, but then she showed up. In person. I had just come out of a planning meeting for the Tokyo project when she was waiting by my car. Hair pulled back. Dressed down, no makeup. Just her. The way I remembered her before all the ambition turned sharp. I don't want to fight, she said. You already did, I replied. You just didn't tell me. She took a breath. I've been seeing a therapist. I said nothing. I know I was selfish. I know I broke something good, and I'm not asking for a do-over. I need you to know I'm trying to become someone who'd never do that again. That almost got me. Almost. But I looked at her, really looked, and saw someone trying to grieve a version of me she no longer had access to. You're not here for me, I said. You're here because it didn't work with him. Her eyes watered. That's not fair. No. What wasn't fair was what you did while my name was still drying on our marriage license. What wasn't fair was taking my work and slapping his initials next to yours like I never existed. Silence. You were the most important person in my life, I said softly, and you made me feel like a placeholder. She nodded, defeated. Then she reached into her bag and pulled out an old photo. The 2 of us. On the rooftop of my firm the night I got promoted. She'd framed it. Wrote something on the back. To the man who always believed in me. Even when I didn't deserve it. I stared at it, then handed it back. I believed in us, I said. You believed in the next best offer. Chloe didn't cry this time. She just closed her eyes, nodded. I'll leave you alone, she whispered. I promise. That night, I packed the last of my things. Flight to Tokyo 7:45 a.m., new apartment, new skyline, new life. Maya stopped by to say goodbye. We hugged like real friends now, no ambiguity, no bitterness. She looked at me and said, you didn't just dodge a bullet, Daniel. You outran the whole damn war. I smiled. Feels like it. She handed me a small gift, a keychain shaped like a compass, so you never forget where you're headed. At the airport, my name came over the speaker for an upgrade. First class, window seat. As I boarded, I glanced at my phone. One last message from Chloe. I hope Tokyo brings you peace. I'm sorry for everything. I didn't reply. Not out of cruelty, out of clarity. Some people don't deserve closure from you. They need to learn how to give it to themselves. Tokyo didn't care about my past. It didn't care that I was recently divorced. It didn't ask me why I looked a little thinner, a little more tired, or why I didn't wear a wedding ring. The city moved too fast for ghosts. And that was exactly what I needed. My apartment was on the 24th floor, overlooking a skyline that felt like a heartbeat. At night, the lights pulsed like stars had fallen and decided to stay. I unpacked slowly. One suitcase, one carry-on. No wedding photos, no old keepsakes. Just my sketchbook, my grandfather's watch, and a single framed blueprint. My first solo design. The one Chloe once said made her feel something. She no longer did. And that was okay. The Tokyo project was everything I dreamed of. Ambitious. Green. Monumental. A 70-story vertical sanctuary with public gardens and built-in energy circulation systems. I wasn't just leading the design. I was shaping the skyline. I met the team the second day. Young, eager, sharp, and among them Rika Tanaka. Structural engineer, 29, brilliant, soft-spoken, the kind of person who said more with one raised eyebrow than most did in entire meetings. We were paired up on the wind load simulation phase. She liked her coffee black and her silence thoughtful. We didn't talk much the first week, but she left a sticky note on my desk Friday afternoon. I like the natural light gradient on your core design. You work with rhythm. Just one sentence, but it meant more than any voicemail Chloe ever left me. 2 weeks in, I started running again. At first, just around the block, then across bridges, through parks. One night, I stopped at a bookstore and bought a blank journal. The first page read, Day 1, not starting over. Just finally starting. Back in New York, I heard from Marcus. He'd started dating someone. Said she didn't ask him to rescue her, just meet her halfway. He sounded happier. Maya texted me a photo of a newly promoted junior designer. Chloe had reapplied at another firm and didn't make it past the first round. Word had gotten out about what she did. I didn't gloat. I just felt nothing. Which, after everything, was a kind of freedom. One night, after a long design sprint, I stayed back in the office. The city glowed below me like it was applauding quietly. Rika walked past and paused at the door. You're still working? She asked. I nodded. Bad habit. She hesitated. Want company? We didn't talk much. Just sipped tea and listened to the hum of servers and distant trains. At some point, I looked up and said, I used to think healing had to be loud, that it had to look like reclaiming or winning. And now? Now I think it just looks like peace. Rika smiled. Then you're getting close. That weekend, she showed me a rooftop garden tucked above a hidden temple. We didn't kiss. But we sat close enough that I didn't flinch, and for the first time since my life fell apart, I didn't feel like I was surviving. I felt like I was becoming. They say time heals everything. I don't think that's true. Time only creates distance. Healing is a decision you have to make, over and over again, until one day, you wake up and realize you don't think about them first thing in the morning anymore. It's been 4 months since I landed in Tokyo. It has been 4 months since the last time I heard Chloe's voice. 3 since she sent me one final messages. I'm letting go now. I hope you're happy. You deserve to be. And that time, I didn't feel anything. Not anger, not pity. Just acceptance. The Tokyo project broke ground last week. Standing at the site, hard hat on, watching the first foundation beams go into place, it felt like poetic justice. The man who lost everything was standing atop a blueprint that couldn't be stolen. When the photographer asked to take a team photo, I said yes, but only on one condition: that everyone's name be credited beneath the image. No shadows. No footnotes. No more people building quietly in the background while others take the credit. I wasn't just leading a project. I was setting the tone for what kind of leader I'd become. Rika and I had dinner after the ceremony. We never defined what we were. It didn't matter. She brought peace into every room she entered, and for now, that's all I needed. Over drinks, she asked me, if you could go back to that day, when she stood in front of your car, would you do anything differently? I thought about it. About the look in Chloe's eyes, about the version of myself who almost said yes. No, I said. I wouldn't. Why? Because saying no wasn't the end. It was the first time I said yes to myself. Marcus visited last month. He walked into my apartment, looked around and said, you look lighter. I nodded. I am. We drank sake on the balcony, talked about where we'd been, where we were going. Do you ever think about reaching out to her? He asked. No, I said. She already reached out to herself. That's her job now. He smiled. Proud of you, man. I'm proud of me too, I said, and I meant it. I keep a small notebook on my nightstand now. At the top of the first page, I wrote, not a comeback. A continuation. Because I didn't return stronger. I didn't get revenge. I didn't win anything. I just kept going. And somewhere along the way, I found myself again. Not the man who gave too much. Not the man who asked too little. But the man who now knows his worth doesn't depend on who chooses to stay. It depends on who he chooses to become. So if you're reading this and you've ever felt like your whole world cracked in two, if someone walked away with your trust like it was something disposable, if you're standing in the ruins of what used to be your forever, just remember, you are not their mistake. You are your own future. And the most powerful story you'll ever write, it is the one you write after they leave.